What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a new video. This is going to be a preseason bike maintenance video. Basically, whatever I do to get the bike ready for the start of the season. March is coming in a couple weeks and we can start hitting a lot again. So I'm just going to take you through what I kind of do to get the bike ready. This is going to be the first part of the series. I'm going to do the second half of this stuff next weekend. But let's get right into it. First thing we're going to do is swap out this Magura handbrake lever. As you can kind of see, it's chopped short. When I dropped it, the end snapped off, and I don't really have an issue with it, except for my finger is kind of like right at the edge of the lever, so I'd rather replace it with a brand new one. Just give me that extra room there in case my hand slips or whatever, and I can still try and grab it. This is the replacement Magura. Things we'll need is a Torx T20 bit, an 8mm wrench, and then torque wrench, 6 Newton meters for the nut on the back. And Magura makes a good video. There goes the nut. Magura makes a good video on how to replace this, so I'll put that in the description of this video as well, so you can see how they do it, and they tell you all the tools and specs and everything you need as well. So then the bolt will just pop right out, and then see how the lever falls out like that. Here's a fresh lever. So there's that little piston right here. Basically, that piston you see on the perch has to go right into this hole here when you reinstall. I'm just gonna take this guy, line it up, make sure it gets right in there. Put the bolt right back through. Tighten it by hand and get it close to where you think torque spec's gonna be. So that's pretty good. Bring out the torque wrench once it's close. I'm trying to speak some real shit, but not always preach. They caught up all on the internet trying to find who to be. Give him a hand, but when you need one, they say it's a reach. Stop listening to opinions. I learned you can never please. My cousin got another year, thought he was about to be free. I probably over tightened it quite a bit, to be honest. 6 Newton meters is pretty small, and I think I just really over tightened it. Yeah, so I probably over tightened that a lot, but that's fine. I'm very good at doing that. We're gonna do the tape again to add a little extra grip. Old lever out, new one in. If you want to add some extra grip to your handbrake lever, just take some good old hockey tape, wrap it around the lever, a couple wraps, and it'll just make it so it's not as slippery for you. I'm just gonna rip off a nice strip, so we'll go from like right here and
people my age don't know what they want to do. I knew the usual suit and tie just wouldn't be suited me. They always fake it till they make it.
Yo, that's all we need to do for that is money. Okay, I don't know if the screen turned blue for you guys. It was like a blue tint, but we just added the hockey tape to the handbrake lever, kind of make it a little extra grippy, and we got the fresh lever installed now. No more busted up old handbrake lever. Second thing we're gonna do, I'm not really gonna show this, but here's my grip. That's a throttle tube underneath. I like to just move it, get it in line with that, so kind of open up this gap so it doesn't get caught on this or anything like that, and just make sure that's all dialed in, so when you're doing like no-handers and stuff, it doesn't end up getting stuck there for any reason. So you can see there's not much of a difference, but I slid it over a little bit. This gap's a little bigger here. I lined it up better there, but still where it's not going to stick on that end. Just give it a couple twists in every orientation of handlebars, just to make sure that it doesn't get stuck anywhere. Next couple things, we got front brake bleed and foot brake bleed. Two favorite things to do. It's just a pain in the ass to bleed brakes, but it's very important. Alrighty, so I took the fairings off so I can get to the res for the foot brake once I get to that, but we're going to start with the front brake. This is the setup I got going right now. Got some shop towels that are on the res. just so I don't get any brake fluid on any important stuff and it eats away. And then another shop tolerance on the caliper. It's an 8mm on the bleeder. And then I'm running one of these vacuum bleeders. I haven't had a lot of success using the actual vacuum portion, so I'm just going to do it by hand. But I like having this as the like catch can or whatever, so I don't have to have like a bottle or whatnot. It works well. And then we've got some Motul RBF 600. That is the bottle I used last year, and this is a sealed new bottle that I'm going to use right now. But I think I'm going to take the old fluid, brake fluid, and flush out. Basically, I'm going to take this bottle, flush out the majority of the old stuff, and then run the new brake fluid through and top it off that way.
And I need to go, I just can't stay here, filling this hole of everything ain't there. Maybe I should just.
So what we're gonna do is pump it, hold it, crack it, close it, and then release. We're holding, cracked, closed, release. Pump it up again. And you're just gonna end up repeating this a bunch until I push out the old fluid. Then I'll start putting the fresh bottle in, and then you just keep doing that until you don't see any more air bubbles coming out of the clear tubing at the bleeder side. Okay, the front brakes are done. You know you're good when the fluid that's coming right out of the clear Tygon doesn't have any air bubbles in it anymore. Right in here, there's no bubbles in there. You're ready to just top off, close it up, and you're pretty much done for brake bleeding up front here. Just make sure the bleeder nipple is closed down here so I'm not getting any leaks, and that's about it.
Spending time just doing me, that's where I be at. I need to go, I just can't stay here, filling this hole of everything ain't there. Maybe I should just be glad that I ain't dead.
Foot brake guys like to take it off. There's a hole right here. I just like to take a zip tie, get it through here. That way, just kind of sticks out, and I have actually room to access it, as opposed to it being tucked under here. So now I can actually just take a screwdriver, pop this sucker off. A lot easier, and this makes it easier to fill it up too. So the P32 bleeder is an 11mm, and I'm making my life very difficult by not taking it off, because we're just gonna go right through the wheel like this to open her up and close her up. So just gotta, that's as much room as I basically have to open and close.
Maybe I should just be glad that I ain't dead, but I got too much on my mind pressing lately. I need to go.
Alright, so I bled them 3 more times. Got no air bubbles coming out of the clear. So I'm just gonna top off fluid here and put everything back together. And that's kind of about it. What's going on, everybody? This is the second part of the preseason bike maintenance. So what we got going on here, we're just gonna finish this up and then do an oil change, pump up the tires, and she's gonna be ready to rip for next Saturday. I was gonna do both sprockets and the chain and then swap the tire and get a fresh rotor on, but I think I want to burn off the rest of this tire completely. I mean, it's pretty shot, but I want to roast the rest of it and then throw on the new one. So I'll probably save that and pretty much just double check all the bolts, and we should be good to go. I mean, there's not much left to do. We did a lot of it last week. We set up the throttle tube, just spaced it out so it doesn't get caught, bled the front brake, bled the foot brake. What else did we do? That's pretty much it. That's all we had to really do so far. So I will update you after I finish bleeding this handbrake. So if you have a Magura 13mm master cylinder, you've probably had issues bleeding off of the master cylinder, or at least setting it up. I don't know why they chose to make the bleeder nipple smaller than the caliper bleeder nipples, like I think on the Brembo master cylinders, are the same size, and I can still use this attachment right here. That guy fits perfectly over the caliper bleeder nipples, but up here it will fall off. Basically, if I had two people doing this would be easy. I just have one person hold the line onto the bleeder nipple and open and close it while the other person pumps this guy. If you're doing it solo, this is some Tygon tubing, a 3/16 inner diameter, and it still falls off, so I have a zip tie tied as tight as possible, and that seems to do the trick. I wish they would have used the same size bleeder nipple up here as they do on the calipers, or like the Brembo Masters use, because I think those are much bigger and probably the standard size. But this is kind of the jank setup we got going. I just wanted to complain about this setup. It's been giving me issues for a couple of years, and I'm glad to be ready to move on to Brembo master cylinders on the new bike when that comes around.
Hottest stash in the carpet. Yeah, we trapping out